Hello everyone and welcome to today's presentation. Let me ask a question. How many people here today would flush $1,000 down the toilet? How many people here today would put $1,000 in a dog's bowl to be shred into bits? And how many people here today would tear up their paychecks never to cash them? I would wager to say that most people here today would never do the things I just said, and I can't blame them. But people every day dispose of thousands of dollars by receiving numerous overdraft fees on a consistent basis. Although these fees are frustrating and are often blamed on the bank, they are avoidable by remembering a few key points about banking. The first thing we must remember is that debit cards do not stop when you don't have money. Authorizations can come through for different amounts, meaning that your authorization for a gas example starts out at $1. This could trick your debit card into thinking that you have more money, and then when your $50 gas transaction clears days later, you incur an overdraft charge. Next, your debit card does not know what checks you have outstanding. The debit card and the bank have no way of knowing what checks you have written. So if you use your debit card until it stops and you are overdrawn, the checks that clear will incur overdraft charges because the card had no idea that these checks were still out there. Third, many banks will authorize charges to avoid their customers' embarrassment. If you're at a fancy restaurant, out on a date for example, and your account is a few dollars short, I'm sure most of us would appreciate that the bank authorizes these transactions so that we don't have to be embarrassed on our first date. The next thing to remember is checks do not have to clear quickly or in order. Checks actually have up to 6 months to clear the bank. This means if you write a check to your child's school, it could take up to 6 months to clear. So you should be keeping track of it until it clears the bank. You should never assume that a check has cleared because you wrote it 3 weeks ago. Checks clear as they are received from the Federal Reserve. This means that your checks may not clear in order, or they may not clear from largest to smallest. It just depends on when your bank receives the checks. This means that a check you wrote 2 days ago could clear before a check you wrote 2 weeks ago. The next thing is that the banks does not know what checks you have written when they give you your balance. So, if you check your balance at the bank and they tell you you have $2,000, they have no idea that you wrote a $1,000 check yesterday. So keep in mind that that $1,000 check is not taken out of your balance. The third thing to remember is to know your bank's policies and for posting transactions. First, you must know your bank's funds availability policy. This includes whether they hold funds, whether they make them immediate the next day, whether they have cutoff times, or whether they make them available same day. The next thing is to know what order your transactions post in. Some banks post transactions immediately. They post them in the order that they were made, or they may post them from largest to smallest or smallest to largest. It is important that you know which order your bank uses. This can help you avoid costly overdraft fees. The final thing is to know how deposits are posted. Some banks post them by time when they were made during the day, so the transactions before the deposit are posted before the deposit, and the transaction after the deposit are posted after the deposit. Some banks always post deposits first, some always post deposits last. So this knowledge can help you avoid costly overdraft fees. The next thing is to use internet or telephone banking to help stay on track. Internet and telephone banking can keep you up to date on what has cleared. Internet banking alerts can let you know when your bank account has reached a set balance. This will notify you if you're getting close to zero and could start incurring fees. By making telephone and internet transfers on a short notice, you can help avoid these internet fees or overdraft fees. For example, if you log in and see that you're going to be overdrawn, you can make a quick transfer from savings and avoid such fees. The final thing is balance your checkbook. Use a check register to track all of your debits, checks, and deposits. This helps you know exactly how much money you have. The bank only knows so much, and so checking your balance does not always guarantee that you know how much money you have. The register is the only true way. Balance to your statement at least once a month. This helps you to know which transactions are still outstanding, which checks have cleared, and if your math is staying on track, and or if the bank makes a mistake. It is important that you balance a monthly statement. You can also use the internet to balance once a week, once a day, or as often as you'd like. The final thing is to be aware of what is in your account. Be aware of what bills you pay. Be aware of how much you deposit. Be aware of the Visa debits that you use. By being aware of your monthly activity, you can easily detect a problem. I'll leave you with these final thoughts. Banks are a business, so they will always charge fees. But these can be avoided by using a few basic techniques for tracking your money. Thank you.